So let's get cracking. Anthony, please introduce yourself and then
what's going on, guys? My name is Anthony Angelillo, branch manager over here with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation Marketing Company, and also top originator of the year, co-host of Damage Control. The list goes on. So it's a lot of work and effort, and I am pumped to have our guest speaker today. I've heard great things about you, so I'm looking forward to listening and taking my notes. And with that, I'll pass the mic to Melinda.
Hi, everyone. Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney for Grimaldi Law Firm and the Closers Title Insurance Company. Love doing this show and super excited to have my friend on here today, Marie. Marie, I'll let you introduce yourself, but Marie's just like a glowing ball of like beautiful energy wherever she goes. So
wow.
Yes, and she always has really great pointers and is always sharing some amazing information. I know she's helped a lot of people that I know, break through some things. So I wanted to have her on so we can share everything that she has with our audience and make sure that everyone knows about you, because this is amazing. So Marie, please introduce yourself formally with all your areas of expertise and all that good stuff, and then we'll get cracking.
Sure. Thank you, Melinda. That was quite the intro. I hope I can, live up to that. So my name is Marie Manalo. I'm also known as the Mother Manifestor. So I am a spiritual coach and intuitive business advisor. I'm a manifestation coach and energy healer. All things intuition and spirituality, that's my realm of expertise. So when it comes to business owners, entrepreneurs, I help guide them with, the blockages that come with being an entrepreneur, the mindset tricks to get themselves out of their own way, and so they can manifest the business, the life, that they dream of.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that. At the end of the day, we say this all the time to you guys on the show. Mindset is, if you don't have your mindset in check, you could be doing all the right things. You could be checking all the boxes, all the things your coach tells you to do, all the things the books tell you to do, everything that you need to do. But likely if your mindset is not in check, there's probably something that you're not doing that you're supposed to be doing. Right.
Right.
To get to that next level.
We just talked about this in Women's Council about mindset and shifting your mindset. And if you're in a slump, just, resetting and just adjusting with the energy in the room. We were all talking about this at dinner too.
I love that. So good. It's great because not too long ago, spirituality wasn't really like so in, when I started the Mother Manifestor, it was like I was talking about unicorn things, and now people are starting to really realize that it starts from within. Everything that we see outside, it's what we've created from within. So, success or blockages or failures, that's all things in our own mind that we've projected out into our human world.
Definitely. So I'm going to go in. I have some questions for you. They're not stumpers. Sure. This is right up your alley. It's just, I
hope not. We're friends.
Yeah. It's really just to have a conversation, because a lot of people, I think, understand the concept of positive thinking, but how does positive thinking, what's the difference between positive thinking and manifesting? How do you carry that over, and how do you learn to do that? Right. So, where do we start?
Right. They're hand in hand, right? You have to have the positive mindset in order to be able to see your manifestations come to life. The difference between just positive thinking, I will, get this deal, or whatever terminology we use, and manifestation is being very precise as to what it is that we're asking for, how, allowing it to come in any way, shape, or form that it may come for us, being open to allowing the universe to kind of shift in a way where whatever it is that you are trying to manifest can come to you. So just the positive thinking is just part of, it's just a building block towards that manifestation. I can say, I want to be a millionaire, and, that's a positive thought, right? But the manifestation would be, I need to land 5 deals, 5 clients in order to get X amount of dollars and within this time frame. So that would be the manifestation of whatever the positive thought is.
I got you. So it's the action, and in a proactive, like it's already existing, right? I will land these 5 clients within this time frame to be able to achieve
this amount of dollars.
Right?
Right.
So how does that work? I mean, a lot of people, I know a lot of people, they may or may not be into this type of awareness of how our mind works in our subconscious and all that. So how does one start to get into this type of stuff?
Well, we just have to, the first step is understanding and realizing that thoughts become things. Anything that we focus on, whether negative or positive, is what will start to project into your life. So that's probably the easiest and the hardest part of it for people. You know, I want to land this, I want to close this deal. Okay, but are you focusing on the deal closing, or are we focusing on all of the roadblocks that may lie ahead for us? Are we focusing on at what time and moment is this going to happen? Or are we focusing on, is this going to happen? You know, those are 2 different, very different thoughts that project very different outcomes,
So
you know, and that's where people get stuck.
So Marie, are you breaking down, let's just use a sales cycle as an example. Are you suggesting to break down the sales cycle so it's not the elephant in the room, so that, you know, I think a lot of agents and lenders and anyone in business, they look at something, they're like, oh my God, this is going to take me a year to get to this number, or how do I finish this list, this task to-do list? It overwhelms people. So do you suggest breaking it down? What do you suggest?
Yes, absolutely. Break it down and be open to allowing the, you know, I'm going to sound like very unicornish, but be open to however the process comes for you. Yeah, roadblocks will come here and there, but when we focus on the negative things and, oh, what if this doesn't work? What if this person doesn't do this? What if this, you know, whatever the case may be, that is what you're going to manifest into your experience. People say, I've been trying to get to this number all year long, and I don't know why I can't get there. It's because we're focusing on the lack of that happening rather than focusing on, okay, big picture, like this is what I want. Universe, however you can give it to me this way. I'm open to receiving whatever ways you have for me. I always use the movie theater example. People sit back, they watch a movie, they don't worry about the editing, the director, the actors, the background of it. They just sit down and watch the movie. Same with us and the universe. We ask for something, we take aligned action. That's the most important thing in business, taking aligned action when it shows up. But for the most part, we just need to relinquish control and allow the universe to bring us the people, places, events, you know, everything that it needs to, and let it just come forward for you. And when it does, take the aligned action towards that goal.
I love that. So there's opportunities everywhere. It's just you're not seeing it, or you don't want to see it, or you're blocked from seeing it. So you need to open yourself up to receive and seeing those opportunities, right? Because there's an abundance of opportunities out there. There's a plethora of business out there. It doesn't have to be one versus the other. There's so much out there. You just got to be open to receiving it and taking the shot, right? Taking the risk, taking action. Like, yes, you could watch the movie, but you got to buy your movie ticket, right? So you can't just go to the movie without buying a movie ticket. Right?
I love that.
So there's things to be done to keep it moving.
Yes, so we have to be very aware of the other opportunities. The problem with entrepreneurs is that we get so stuck in one way. This is the way that I see it going. And we forget that the universe is limitless and it can bring us what we're asking for in so many different ways, things that we couldn't even dream of, and give us those opportunities, like different roads to lead to the same goal.
For sure. I love that.
I love this. So breaking down sales cycle, not having any blockages, getting up in the morning and saying, I'm going to kill the day, slaying my day. Right. Right. And the bottom line is to really just focus on good energy. And if you're about to get on the phone, I'm going to make this phone call. I'm going to close this call. if someone has a blockage, what do you suggest they do?
I actually had this conversation with cold calls. Yeah, my terminology is not up to par with you guys because I'm not a realtor, but or in that business. But when it comes to cold calls, this woman that I'm working with was like, "What if they judge me? What if I fail? What if I can't close it?" And I said, "Well, you're definitely not going to do that because those are the things you're going to do that because it's what you're focusing on. Let's just switch our mindset and think, okay, if I make 30 calls today, and I close 5 of them, what were the words that I said to those 5 people that landed those? Like, what was the way that I got these people?" We have to switch the mindset and say, okay, it's not a failure. It's a lesson. This is teaching me what I should say, what I shouldn't say, what closes the deal, XYZ.
Like that.
You can keep doing that, right? Use
Right.
what works. So
Yes.
I want to add on to that. So we know there are statistics and things. There's a certain amount of cold calls that will get answered, a certain amount that will convert. You can get better, but what's the level of like where you're realistic versus being positive and like manifesting, right? So sometimes I've read and I've heard other things, and there's different ways to look at it too. Was even for myself, I'll use myself as an example. I said this to Anthony before. I always like using myself.
I was just gonna say, yesterday and today, you're like, boom, let's go.
I know. Yesterday was another day, and that's something I could bring up for that.
You could bring it up, yeah. Go ahead.
But I was going to talk about something else.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to mention was, there are roadblocks. Like, roadblocks will come because that's the nature of life. That's the nature of real estate. We know that they're going to come, right? Mm-hmm. And so almost like not expecting that they won't come, but expecting that you will overcome them, right? I think that's the difference. That's the difference.
That's the big difference.
Like, if you go in, you start your day that you're not going to have any problems. No, I will handle those problems with grace. We will overcome them. We will move forward. We will figure it out. We will make it happen. And that's like a shift that I had to make.
Absolutely. People have to understand it's always going to be taken care of. Whether or not you worry about it, it's always going to be taken care of. Whether it doesn't work here, but it works somewhere else, whether you figure out how to work it within that situation, it is always taken care of.
Yes. Yes. And so you mentioned, we're talking about like making $1 million, for example, but it could be as simple as how your day will go, right? It doesn't have to be. So yesterday, I was triple booked and had a very heavy day, all good stuff, right? But I was very rushed in my day. So I started my day. I said, okay, this is going to get the best of me today if I don't handle this.
And off the bat, you psyched yourself out right there.
Yeah, I was starting. So then I was like, okay, you got to be aware of where your thoughts are going. And so I said to myself, this is exactly what you need to be doing today, actually, is stacking all these income producing possible activities back to back, right?
Absolutely.
So, and when I changed that, it helped a lot. It helped me pivot. I was still pretty, flustered because I was running around, but it was exactly what I needed to be doing. So do you have tips for people to help shift that mindset? I know Anthony gave a great example yesterday, but do you have anything you want to share on that too?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right on it. Switching the way you're seeing things. It's not a problem. It's always figure outable.
Yes.
Everything is always figure outable. And when it's not, it's a lesson to be learned. We get so focused on the negative things that can happen to us during the day, or what might not happen for us, and we need to just focus on what is working. It changes your whole vibration. We're like, okay, maybe this didn't work today, maybe I'm a little flustered today, but I can make a good amount of money doing this, or I can gain clients this way. It's not a loss. It's just that simple switch in your brain where you're like, I'm just going to be grateful for what's going on right now. It's either teaching me or I'm going to get something from it.
I love that.
Yeah. A lot of, we just had Tamara on here. When was it? Recently?
A couple months ago.
Yeah. She was talking about fixed mindset, abundant mindset, and scarcity mindset. And I know that a while back, I was on a fixed mindset, my way, the highway. It's got to be done this way. This is why it should be. I switched that. And that's when everything started really taking off, because I thought as a consumer would, right? Right. This is a point they're supposed to make. This is why they're making it. So I think that's very important. And I spoke about this yesterday in Women's Council, shifting your mindset in anything personal related and business. So it's great that you're speaking about all that.
Yeah. Again, we get so focused on that one path, and this is the answer, this is how it is. And then we limit the universe and all of the ways that we can get the same thing that we're asking for. And when we just switch it and say, you know what, give it to me however it comes, it flows so much easier. It's effortless. You know, you just have to take that aligned action, and you think to yourself more often than not. I think to myself more often than not, I could not even have dreamed up that way, and the universe gave it to me in that way, and it's so much better, easier, faster this way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, even how this show is created was just us being open to a partnership of something, and then it turned into this show that, you know, has really helped us in so many ways, and I think the industry as well. So you mentioned something like there's multiple ways, so I want to take this language and bring it back to like business talk, right, a little bit.
Sure.
And how we can relate it. So we always talk, I always mention how your business plan is your GPS, right? So it's important to have a route that you plan to take, but even a GPS has to get rerouted sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important to be reflecting on your plans and what you intend to be executing on, to see what's working, what's not, so that you're not so fixed on that one route. Because sometimes routes need to be adjusted. And if you're not open to seeing that, if you're not being mindful of what's happening, reflecting on your business, you're not going to see the other routes.
Absolutely. You know, we can try to get to X point, right? And we can take 95, we could take the back roads, we could take 595 or I-75. It'll all take us to that one place, but we have to be open to seeing it and understanding that there are, like, although we have this plan, we will often have to pivot.
And if pivot isn't the word these days, you know, like how everyone has had to pivot.
Yes,
in this last year, right, year and a half, it's like probably
forever,
as it feels like. But you know, it's definitely the flexibility, right, that we have, and it's hard for me to be flexible sometimes, because I have like for example, I'll tell you a funny story. My husband and I, when we first met, he was trying to cook with things that needed to be with olive oil, with different oils. And I'm like, no, hard line, no. I rather not eat it if you don't have, I go buy the olive oil or not. But you know, there's room, there's places for the hard line, like no, and olive oil is one of them for me. But as an Italian, I guess that's like ingrained in my upbringing.
What was he using? Vegetable oil? Or
I don't remember. I don't even remember. I just remember like the first experience of us cooking together. The first few time was, you know, he's Brazilian. You know, it's a different world, right? So
different culture.
But you know, even that requires flexibility. Are you not going to eat because you have no more olive oil because it finished? I don't know. You know, you got to be flexible and figure it out another way. So I don't know. It's a super important thing to remember, that we need to stay flexible, because the universe, things change, everything changes.
Yeah,
and
everything changes.
If you stay stuck in that way, you know,
you'll just be buried.
So if someone's looking to really, like, what are some tips? Like, what are things they could do? They could read, they can like explore to in the manifestation world. Like, everyone talks about how important it is, right?
But
no one really talks about how to start doing it, because it seems kind of unicornish, right?
It is.
if you're talking about it in like an abstract, but if you start talking about it like how we're talking about it right now, and how it relates to what we're doing every day, then that's when you have that concrete nature. So where do people start?
So my spiritual Bible is Ask and It Is Given. It goes over, you know, how to deal with your emotions, how to manifest from scratch, how to get in tune with your spirituality. That is the book that I've literally given out maybe 50 copies to clients,
okay.
so that they can like learn and understand that it is unicorn stuff. It's actually just, it's law. It's law. Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein is also a very easy read. It breaks down the law of attraction in the ABCs. So the power of your subconscious mind is one that I read and reread, because everybody gets caught up in, am I allowed to curse here?
Yes.
Okay. I call it the itty bitty shitty committee in the back of your brain. That subconscious, those subconscious mind thoughts that try to keep you small and try to keep you in a space of fear. So Joseph Murphy is amazing when you're talking about subconscious mind thoughts. You know, Tony Robbins is great. Marianne Williamson actually has a book for business and business with spirituality. I'm losing the book now, but it's like the power of law of attraction with in business. So that one I read multiple times before I started to create the Mother Manifestor, because it all really comes hand in hand, you know, being an entrepreneur, sticking to a positive mindset, allowing manifestations to work, and building a business, you know, around somebody around you who's confident and knows your worth and is able to get rid of the thoughts in the back of that shitty committee in the back of your brain that tries to keep you small.
So I love that. Speaking of the shitty committee. Speaking of the shitty committee.
That's the one liner right there. Done.
So how do we know? Because I've experienced it sometimes. How do I know that critic is not just my intuition telling me it's a bad idea? Like where does that like line come? Like where is this? Like Anthony and I we're looking into a few ideas, and there was one that I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. I didn't know if it didn't feel right because of the business decision of it, and I think that's really where it was my intuition saying it was not a good idea. But you know, at the beginning, I was questioning my intuition. I'm like, is this me blocking myself?
No. Okay. So number one, I'm an intuitive business advisor, and you were 1000% correct on that specific idea. So your intuition was speaking to you loud and clear. Number one. So let me just push off that. So Melinda knows. And then when we break down what the thought process is, like, why am I thinking that this is a bad thing? Does it have to come from, is it something that comes from within me? Am I afraid to take that jump? Is it something that is it my own limited mindset that's keeping me from making this jump and doing this deal, making this business, whatever it might be? Or is it just doesn't feel right? The person that I'm working with doesn't feel right. The deal itself doesn't feel good. It's two totally different thought processes. And once you break down why am I saying no? Is it something from within or external things? You'll always come up with the right answer.
So that's an important thing for everyone to be mindful of when you start to either delay in executing something, because that's how it started. I was delaying the execution. Like,
2 weeks.
I was delaying and executing something, and I didn't know why. I started, but I didn't. No, it doesn't, right? Because if I decide I want to do something, I want to launch something, I'm very much, on that route in it. So I couldn't really figure it out. And then I started talking to Anthony about it. And it's a few different things, right? We start with ideas and we say, okay, is this a good idea or is it not? I like it. Okay, let's roll. But wait, hold on a second. Sometimes we jump too fast. And I'm like trying to be an elevated, mindful person to understand what I'm doing. I'm like, am I blocking myself? And so I had to have that internal and conversation and even like talk it out. So we talked it out. I don't
think it was the execution, because you and I are just boom, let's go. Like, let's go. I think it was more of, we did the data, we analyzed like, what could go possibly wrong in our business if we do, enter that sector. And it was a judgment call. At the end of the day, I do think that intuition is good, right? Would you say, Marie, that having that intuition, but then also a business analysis and an approach on business is,
to back it up.
If you've got a business right now that's healthy, you know, that mindset's already there because you've already built something. Does that make
Right.
sense? Like if you've built something that's successful, it's easier to come and say, all right, I'm going to go sell this now. And because you have that back in and that understanding of how you did it before. So I think that was more of the thought process of what we were trying to do. But
That's good. Some good stuff. So how does one overcome kind of the pressures of, I mean, this is probably a very loaded question, could be a whole show or a book, but like there's a lot of outside pressures in every industry, right? So in our industry, there's politics. In our industry, there's, you know, the virus. In our industry, there's rates. In our industry, there's banking and regulation. There's so many things that play into how by default successful, you know, someone can be, right? But really, there's always opportunities. So how does one overcome seeing the challenges? Like right now, we're in a very busy market, so everyone's working, right? But there's always shifts in the cycle, and there's always shifts in where it's moving and how it's moving. So how does someone, like, you know, knowing that those shifts come because it's a cycle, it's going to happen, how does one like deal with that and as part of all this?
Well, there's a ton of things. I mean, there's a ton of things. For me, it's kind of easy because I kind of just flow with everything, but not like most people. Most people aren't like that. So the understanding that there's always going to be highs and there's always going to be lows, accepting, you know, that those are going to be, that's part of life. It's going to happen. You're going to have times where you're on top and times when you're kind of quiet, and that's just more of accepting how life goes. And when it comes to personal blockages that you were asking about earlier, there's so many things. I talk about the cancel method. I talk about, you know, affirmations, not necessarily like looking in the mirror and being like, I am, you know, amazing, whatever it might be. But but having affirmations playing in the background, you know, in the morning or at night, like while you're getting ready for work, when you're about to go to bed, like just to help shift the mindset from one place to another. It's just basically brainwashing your subconscious mind. So to have it play in the background, you know, you're not listening to it, but your subconscious mind hears it. So there are, you know, entrepreneur manifestations. There are ones for self-confidence and things of that nature that I've even recorded for people, for clients of mine, so that they can, you know, just have it play in the background. And it kind of just reminds them, you know, I am worthy of what I'm looking to do, to get. Like, I am capable. I am worthy of this. I am able. And this will happen for me. The cancel method is my favorite. You know,
what's the cancel method? Yeah.
So everybody's shitty committee starts to creep up, right? Like at various times in the day. And, you know, I catch myself in it. I say cancel. You know, sometimes I'll have to clap to shake myself out of it. Tony Robbins talks about changing your physiology. So jumping or running or doing something to change your physiology, and then restart the thought process the way that you want to see it manifest. Gabby Bernstein talks about recognizing the thought, forgiving it, thanking it. Like, thank you. You're showing me that, you know, where I'm blocking myself. I'm going to go ahead and step further than that. And this is what I want. And this is what I'm claiming.
I wear these and I snap them. And it just
that rubber band is great, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the cancel. You're just
people are like, what the hell is this guy
up.
doing over here? every 5
it's like reset. You need to do it a few times sometimes.
Do you meditate, Marie? Do you meditate?
I do. And I always recommend this to people that have a million tasks in a day, in order to gain energy in between tasks. Close your eyes for 3 minutes and just like recenter, refocus. You'll find yourself with more energy for the next task. You might think that you're losing 2, 3, 5 minutes, but you're not. You're gaining so much more energy so that you can finish the next task even quicker. So I do. Like, I don't always catch myself in the morning. Mornings are more for before I open my eyes. I just start gratitude listing for what I do have, and start asking for what I'm want for my day, I want for my month, I want for my life, as if it's already in my life. So I am receiving, I am creating, I have. Because when we talk about manifesting, if you talk about I will or I will be doing, you'll keep everything in the future. So when
Hold
you
on,
speak
hold
it,
on. Let me
Yeah.
repeat that. So
Let's go that. Yeah.
you're receiving in the morning. So you're taking in,
right.
you're
So if
manifesting content, and then go ahead, go explain that again.
So I start with a gratitude list, you know, the roof over my head, the bed underneath me, my son in the next room, you know, those kind of things. And then from there, because that already puts you in a spirit, in a higher vibration. Once you start to think about the things that you already do have that you are thankful for, then from there going into what I want to see happen in my life. So I am, you know, if it's money, like this amount of money, I am receiving $50,000 a month in whatever it might be. You want to always speak in present tense, not in the future. When we talk about things, we need to talk about them as if they are already here. Because if we continue to talk about it being next quarter, next year, in the future, you're energetically keeping it in the future, and you'll never see it happen in the present.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So that's also a mindset thing. So for business, you know, for people in business, if they're saying by the end of the year, you know, like, you know, claim it now. So what if it comes 2 months beforehand? You know, that's a win, you know?
Yeah.
You want to claim it as if it's already happening for you. You know, that's just how the law works. That's just the law of attraction. You have to claim it in the now. That's a great book too, The Power of Now.
Okay. I'll write
Hold
that
on.
down.
Power of now.
I'm going to give a practical example of what you just said. Last year, we closed on our home, and I basically had to take all this cash out of my business, which for me is like a security blanket, and spend it. And I'll never forget that day, the day before closing. I went to buy a money candle at the House of Intuition, just because, you know what? I gotta like shift this like kind of worry of this, like, you know, cash just being transported out, which was my security blanket of always having that. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be in that mindset. It's going to come. And so I kept that candle as a reminder. It's coming, right? It's here. It'll be replenished very quickly. And it was, and I didn't worry about it, because when you worry about it, that
you also keep it from coming to you.
And and people can feel that when you speak to them.
I was just going to say that, like, that negative mindset on the phones, you can sense it when someone's having a shitty day. Like their tonality completely changed. You know, just, what's up? Are you okay? Like, you don't sound the same. Nah, I'm just, you know, I was dealing with that. I had no AC for 2 days. Melinda calls me. She's like, "What the hell is going on?" Hello, hot as hell over here.
Man.
So people can feel you.
Yeah. So starting the day with a gratitude list, and then speaking in the present tense of what you want to receive as if you already have it.
Right. You know, also writing it down. I do it for like new moons, full moons, that kind of thing, because, you know, for me, I just speak it. You know, I speak it all day long. My other half is always like laughing at me. I'm like, Uni, I want XYZ now, you know, and it comes every time it comes. Because, you know, I'm putting the energy of like, I trust you. I'm not going to put anxiety on it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to kind of joke about it and see what shows up. And it shows up every time. That's the biggest part of manifesting. You can write it down in the present. You can, you know, do all the things, gratitude list, read all the books. But if you are putting out the energy of fear or anxiety or lack, you're going to get more of that rather than what you are asking for.
That's a proof of concept too. Let me interject, because I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I shifted the way the consultation went on our borrowers, right? Because a lot of the borrowers were getting rejected and they were just really disenchanted with the entire, process, because it's tax and it's not fun. No one really wants a mortgage. And at the end of the day, I would make it fun for them. And I would say, look, we can do this. We're going to do it now. Let's get you approved today. So I was acting that cheerleader type, like, let's do it, hurrah. And I switched their mindset, not even knowing it. And that's when everything started coming in. Like, this was
absolutely
amazing.
you shift the energy towards it.
Yes,
Yep, exactly.
yes.
Yep. Yeah, it's so funny. I learned that the hard way. I was like writing all of these things down and like, why isn't it happening? I'm the Mother Manifestor. Why isn't it here yet? And those things that I was focusing so much time and attention on, and like, when is it happening? Where is it? Why isn't it now? And they would not manifest. And the things that I would be like, I just want, whatever, silly thing it might be, a grandiose thing that I was asking for would always show up because of the energy that I put towards it. Faith is a big word, like, hey, I trust that this is what's going to happen for me, whether you say God or universe or energy, law of attraction, like, this, I already know this is going to happen for me. I'm welcome to receiving it in however way, shape, or form you're going to give it to me. At the end of the day, this is what I want, and I know it's mine already. I asked for it, and it is always given. That's why I love that book so much. Even the title is amazing. Ask, and it is always given.
Yes.
Wow.
So
many good books. We need to
I know
list these books, man.
Years of me. Yeah.
You actually read some pages sometimes, like on a live or in your stories, right? I love that. I love that.
Yes. People don't have the time. They make excuses in their mind as to why spirituality is something on the back burner for them, when it really needs to be in the forefront. Because when you're spiritually sound, everything is created that you want around you. It's that easy.
Right.
It's that
You're
simple.
So right.
So I want to go back to when we were talking about meditation. You said, okay, in between each, if you're going to shift, let's say you're going to shift, after the show, I'm going to shift to do something totally different after this. Right. So how can you, and everyone does this, right? We're always shifting throughout the day. We wear multiple hats as business owners, and we need to do the shifting. Right. So how can you give us a little guidance on what we could say to ourselves or what to do in those moments?
It's not so much just saying anything. It's closing your eyes and allowing yourself to just like clear the brain for just a couple of minutes. You don't have to focus on anything. I tell people to, I've made, which I'll send, I've made a playlist of like meditation music that's just very calming. And the purpose of that is just to, like, when you first wake up and you have all of this energy to do the first task, it's to do the same thing in a short amount of time between the tasks, to regain that energy. Don't worry about what's next. Don't worry about what you did before. Just like be in that present moment, the power of now. Close your eyes, breathe. You can, just focus on breathing, whatever thoughts come to mind, as long as they're not having to do with one task to the other. 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
So,
and then move on.
Take the time to enjoy the moment is what you're saying.
Right. Just, closing your eyes and just allowing yourself to just be.
So I know I'm not alone. I know Anthony's like this. We joke about it. We talked about it yesterday on another webinar, and I'm sure many of you that are watching live or later, like, we have those busy to-do list minds. I have extremely busy to-do list minds. So I'm driving and I'll make 10 phone calls because of something I have to ask, delegate something. Did this happen? Like, I'm constantly, I can never really have a moment of peace. And my husband, it drives him crazy because, like, I'll sit down. Okay, I got to get up and do something else. Right. So how do we learn to train our minds to just slow down? Do you know any, like, I mean, help us sister out.
and let me ask this too, because this is, I guarantee everyone's going to ask this question or want to even answer it. I would say is, how do you continue to maintain that healthy spirituality of just you being so positive? You know what I mean? That's, I think, the hardest part. Those are the two questions.
So with the positive and the negative, it's just, for me, I've lived both ways, very negative and very positive. And the negative has never brought me a life that I wanted to live, living in that negative mindset and like always looking at what could go wrong and what did go wrong and why me and all this trauma and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't get me anywhere. So why not just live in a space of hope and faith? Like, what are you losing? If you go into every situation thinking that you are in favor of that situation, 99% of the time you are. You know, why focus on the 1% that it could go wrong? What is that doing for you? My other half says, you know, it's like a rocking chair. Worrying is like a rocking chair. You can do it. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Right. So I'd rather focus on, you know, all of the possibilities, all of the positive things that could happen in our life, in the situations that we are in. And in that space, we allow ourselves to vibrate higher. And in that vibrating higher, we attract more of like energy, meaning like more positive events, more positive people, more positive outcomes when we vibrate higher. It's all energy. Energy is very real. So if you vibrate in a low space, you're going to continue to attract people, places, things, events in that negative space. If you vibrate from a higher place, you're going to see positive people, positive outcomes, events, you know, all of those things coming into your experience. And that is not unicorn stuff. That is energy. That is law, the universal law. And Melinda, I didn't want to forget you. What you asked about, how do we
train our minds? How do we clear? Like, I know meditation is like obviously a process. It's a practice, right? You got to keep practicing on it. But I really haven't found a way to start that makes sense for me, because I just have so much in my mind. And so some days I was like, let me just dump it all on paper. So it's out of my mind and on paper. You know,
that is meditation too.
Yeah.
You know, like people think that meditation means like quiet my brain and don't think about anything. And the first thing people say is, I don't know how to meditate. Meditation looks different for everybody. Like brain dumping is a form of meditation. You're taking all of this and putting it somewhere else for a moment. Whether you do it physically or mentally, you're doing the same. It's the same thing. Like for me to say, I'm going to sit here and not think about anything and clear my mind is the same as you saying, I took all of this information, I wrote it down and dumped it here. It's the same, you know? So meditation looks different for everybody. Now, when it comes to, you know, taking those I call them spiritual breaks. I go back to me. So I say, okay, I do not want to get so far down this path of go, 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 that my battery is on empty, because that's what happens. We go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden we don't feel good. We're tired. We're overworked. We don't want to do it anymore. We lose the passion for what it is that we are doing. And, you know, we get to a point where like, we're just miserable. So, you know, instead of going all the way until we're completely out of battery, you know, like who lets their phone get on red? Nobody. You put the charger in it, you know, when it starts to get to that yellow, right?
You do that?
My phone dies. My phone dies
have batteries
all the
everywhere.
time. Because when I do,
drive me
but
nuts.
because I have little kids, ever since I have little kids, like I forget to put my phone on the charger. So I do run with a battery pack, but I'm always taking it to the limit. My car too, the gas always.
Dude, that type of shit, it drives me nuts, man. I can't.
Living on the edge.
Like that.
Living on the edge, guys. You know, I'm so stretched with everything else. So now my husband's like, I'm gonna refill your tank. So when he's driving my car, he fills it for me. So sometimes you gotta find the people that help refill you, right?
And that's a way of taking your spiritual break. I don't have the time for this. Can you do it? That's also a spiritual break. But you know, when it comes
delegating
to
is that what you're saying? Delegate?
Yeah, absolutely. If I have all of this on my plate, I need to delegate what I don't need to be doing. If somebody else can do it for me, do it. You don't get an award for doing all the things. You know, nobody's going to be like, here you go. You made yourself so stressed out and tired and empty on your, you know, like empty inside that now you don't get an award for it. You know, delegate what you can't do, like what you don't need to do.
You do well with that, Melinda. You put everything on the Trello board. You dump
Listen,
on that Trello board.
Ever since I
I'm
was a
this-
kid, I was a master delegator. You ask my parents. My mom would tell me, okay, you need to clean this and this and that. And I would turn to my brothers, okay, guys, this is what we got to do. Like, I joke about it, but it's for real. Like, I don't even know if they realize that. I
Poor
literally had this
bastards.
I never had this conversation with them like that. I use it as an example, but my mom's like, you're the master delegator all the time. And you know, there's good and there's bad with it, but I honestly, it's helped me be a better business person because I learned to sit down. Okay, this is what's got to get done, and how do we Dutch it out? You know, because we can't do everything, right?
Right. Your time and your energy is precious, and it's non-refundable. Like that is very important to remember. Like, my time is non-refundable. What are the most important things? What do I need to do? What needs to be done from me? Everything else, delegate. You know,
and making sure like that restoration time. So what I've started doing is every Sunday is really a day for me. I really take it as a day of rest. So we try to minimize too much activities. Sometimes we can't avoid certain things, but we try to be home. We have massages in the morning, we work out, we swim, we do meal prep for the week. And honestly, when I do that, I feel like rejuvenated.
Accomplished.
Not even accomplished. Like, I got this. Like, this week, when I start my week like that with a Sunday like that, it flows so much better because I give back to myself. Because you know what happens if I don't meal prep? It's my dinners and my lunches that don't get made.
Right.
It's more like I prep for myself mostly. Most of the prep that I do is not for the family because it takes, like, we take care of that as we go along. The kids always get fed. My husband always gets fed. But if I want to eat healthy and feed my body good things and have like nice salads and things that I enjoy as well as be healthy, I need to prepare for that. So it's come a long way because I'm finally pre-baby weight now. So that's helped without even really trying too much, you know? So just with like a little bit of time for myself. So about it.
What you're basically doing is taking all those little time in between events and you're pushing it all into one day.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. But you know, I'm talking more to the businessmen and women there that like they feel like their day is just one long day and they don't ever give themselves a break and they're literally running on E. Like, take the time in between tasks, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, close your eyes. Don't focus on anything that needs to be done from the past or the next, you know, and just allow yourself to breathe, recover, and you'll regain more energy. It's like that little charge, and then you go on to the next task.
Do you time block your day? Is all time block?
All of it. It needs to be.
That's it, guys.
It needs
time blocking.
Yeah,
it has to be, or I'm a mess.
Yeah, it's it's really important. It's really important. We had Sandy on the show. She talked all about all that stuff. She's like the
delegate.
She's the master delegate.
Is what she's in.
Yeah.
She's the one that taught me that.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone could learn from that, right? She's got some great guidance for that. And it's like, it's really finding that, you know, we have things we have to accomplish, but I think it's important. I think for me, I work through lunch, I'm eating at my desk. I never give myself a pause. And I think that's part of why I have, like, by Friday, I'm just like so spent.
Yeah.
You know, and why I need a whole day. So I should probably try, you know, I'm going to try this. I'll let you know how it works out. I'll let you guys know what else I'm going to just take a few moments. I don't know why we think like 5 minutes is going to make such a big difference.
It's not. You regain so much energy. So you have so much energy for the next thing and the next 10 things. You know, I know it sounds like a lot. And this is like, for most of the business clients that I have, that is where they struggle. It's the mindset and then taking the time for yourself. Like, they always think that there's something to be lost in the 5 minutes, you know, when really you're just gaining energy and momentum.
That's awesome.
To make you accomplish more in that time that you have.
Right.
That's so true. For me as a mom, it's always like, I need to cram as much as I can in because I can't work when I get home, because if I do, like, they're little, they gotta, like, they go to bed early, you know, like I want to be there. So I'm just cramming. But the thing is, that's where the burnout sometimes can stem from, right? Because you're just cramming it in, and then I'm cramming in mommy, right? And I'm
Mhm.
cramming
Mhm.
in like business owner. And so we got to stop and take that pause, and it really does make you more productive. We
It
do have
really
a
does.
question. We have a question here
Sure.
from the audience. Anything we want to manifest, we should surrender to the universe. How do we surrender?
Good
Wow,
question.
that's a big question.
Yeah.
How do we surrender?
Put you on the
know,
spot right there.
That's I could talk about that for days. Now, listen, like we said this, or I said this earlier, it's always, everything is always figure outable. And when we realize that, and we just trust, faith is a very big word. When we just trust that whatever it is that we want, need, or are having trouble with, is always going to be taken care of. That's the surrender effect. Like you just give it. I always just say, I was actually looking for a new place, and we were coming down to days that I needed to find somewhere for us to live. And I was like, I was human about it. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I finally just said, you know what, God, I'm just giving this to you. I know you're gonna take care of it. You always have it. I'm always taken care of, and it's gonna be figured out. When
And
we
what
trust
happened?
that and know that. I got it the day of. I got a place
Nice,
the day
man.
of. It was
Nice.
crazy. And and it was that moment of like just release. Like you can no longer you cannot control this. It's not something there are things that you can't just press a button and it shows up for you. Like we're so used to, Instacart and Google and finding the answer and getting it sent to our home, Amazon, like next day delivery, that there are situations in our lives that when they don't do that, we freak out.
So you're saying the
when-
universe isn't on Prime?
Get this shit on Prime.
I would pay for that.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
for
Hells
sure.
yeah.
You can maybe think it
Now.
We want everything now. And when we realize that everything is going to happen when it needs to happen, and I'm always taken care of, because you are always taken care of, especially when you believe that. You will always be taken care of, and you just release it. That's when things start to flow for you. And I know that's so crazy for some people to understand.
No, I love it. I think it's great. I'm so completely get it.
I'm a control freak. So it takes a lot of practice for me, and it's evolved over the years. And it's still like sometimes a thing for me.
So I tell people that have trouble with relinquishing control, take those mini moments when you didn't control it and you allowed the universe to flow with it and give it to you. Take those as like little things and stack them in your brain. Like remind yourself, like when I let go of control here and I surrendered, this happened for me. And then this happened for me. Like take those so that your logical brain can remember that and allow yourself to do it again, with bigger things, with more things. Because logical people need like the proof.
I'm very much that type of a person that needs like that concrete, like that's why I'm like, give me the book. What are the steps? Give me the book. What? Because
where's the source? You say, give me the source, man. I want the damn source. Bro, I don't know.
There's a lot of BS out there. So sometimes I find something very interesting that's being shared and I go, what's your source? I'll never share something if I can't source it from something reputable, because there's so much bullshit out there. You have to
totally,
right? So I like to read it. I want to know, because there's so many random like blogs and things. You got to be careful too, what you're following, what you're reading, what you're trying to, what you're sharing. Yeah. Even though it goes with your point of view, you still gotta make sure you're sharing something.
You have to back it up.
Back it up, and that's the lawyer in me. We had to source everything in law school, right? Like this is the rule, and this is why, and this is where the analogy comes from, and this is why. So I guess that's maybe something.
That's why I'm able to give you so many book recommendations, and they all say the same thing. It's always the same things, just in different wording. But there's literally hundreds of books that have fallen into my lap that I reread, listen to on Audible. Like I constantly need to be reminded, because I am human. Right. I need to be reminded of like, that mindset cannot go anywhere with me. Blockages, law of attraction, those kind of, you need to be constantly reminded,
And I'll say this to everybody, once you really start studying mindset and all this stuff, you will see that there is a repetition, right? And it's being delivered in different ways, whether
But
it's
it's all the
God,
same.
universe, this, that, it's being delivered in different ways, but you will find that common thread through a lot of these teachings,
All of it.
a lot of these
Mhm.
strategies.
Mhm.
And so when you find yourself, what I found myself happening is, okay, I'm hearing the same thing over and over again. So now I just gotta like sit down and really like dive deeper in it, because it's nothing new that I need to find. I just gotta understand this and implement it better.
Right. Right.
That's
Mhm.
where I am at with all this personally, but I think a lot of people can relate.
But that's great.
Yeah. And I'm always like, Anthony, read this book. Anthony, because you got to find the people around that are also studying and leveling up and doing
Yeah.
things to improve themselves,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
my
exactly.
circles now, everyone's trying to do something big, trying to do something next. Like, what's the next thing? What's the next move? What's the next study? What's the next book? And
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
I'm happy to be in those circles, because that is what's going to help rise you up too, right?
Pushes you. Yeah. Pushes you.
Yeah.
Taking
Yes.
things in stages too. You know what I mean? Like I try to enjoy the day and try to focus on the day rather than forecast the week or month. Yes, I do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, when I was doing the forecasting, I got to do this the whole week and a month. I got shit done. Nothing. And then when I did it day by day, everything started to just manifest.
Living more
So-
present, more in the present. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So-
definitely a good thing, guys. We can keep chit-chatting for hours,
Yeah.
but our
God, man.
hour is up. And I mean, that's testament that we had some good content, I think, today. Thank you, Marie, so much for your time.
Thank you so
And-
much, guys.
Energy bubble over here.
Yes, I love it. So before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that we do strategy calls every week. And those strategy calls are for agents to learn how we can help them grow their business. The link for the strategy call will be put in the chat. You'll also find the strategy call. You'll also find Marie's Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to find you and follow you and learn more about what you do, right?
Yes. It's
Amazing.
Mama_Marie or the Mother Manifestor. I post on both, very spiritual things to keep you in check.
I love it. It's always great stuff. Always keeping me on my toes. You posted something the other day, actually, that I was like, man, I feel like you're talking to me right now, So you find those
Yeah, good
things.
stuff.
It's so good to get that little nugget to like put you in check in a day, in a moment, So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marie, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Melinda and Anthony. I'm so grateful to be a part of this.
One thing too, one question, 𝐻𝐵𝐾𝐫, we will send all the books because I definitely want a list of those books.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Let's recap the list of the books. And I know you
For
have
sure.
also
Awesome.
some courses and some things that you're doing. So send us the links for that as well. We'll share it so
Absolutely.
everyone
Thank
wants to
you.
continue some studies on this. They can do that through the books or through your courses. So we appreciate
Yes.
your time.
I appreciate you both. Thank you
And
so
this
much.
is so great. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And remember, our show is free to you. All we ask is if you know anyone else in the real estate industry to please share it. Share it with them if you think they'll enjoy it. And we'll be happy to keep the show coming and chugging along for you, because it's helping, I think, everyone one day at a time get a little bit better.
Man.
So
It is.
it's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you, guys. Hope you have an
Take
amazing
care.
day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.